The Browns are -1.5 against the Texans. After what you saw, now granted it wasn't CJ, but is CJ worth? What was the final score of that Browns game?
I don't know, it was bad. I mean, Case was terrible. Davis Mills is okay. I think they scored late. It was just a bad game.
It was an awful game.
Bad game all the way around.
It was awful.
You had injuries.
You couldn't stop them. 36-22 was the final. 36-22. It felt like it was worse.
It was an outlier. Well, it was. They scored late, but the Texans, Davis Mills scored a couple, but it was
Do you think it's going to be that big a difference?
I don't think they scored 36 points. No. Yeah, I think it's going to be a big difference.
You do?
Yes, absolutely. 100% do. C.J. Stroud makes a huge difference. I mean, if you're behind big and Cleveland gets to pin their ears back as pass rushers, they don't have to respect the play action. Yeah, I think it's a huge, huge difference. With C.J. Stroud, you call a completely different game. C.J. completes a lot of passes that weren't completed.
How do you stop Amari Cooper?
Well, I mean, I just think this is the one thing I've learned. If one guy has a big game in one game, a lot of times, maybe not with the Texans with TJ when they don't have the talent, but I do think with your starting cornerback back and Steven Nelson, with Stingley, potentially you could change up how you use your coverages. Maybe you play more zone than you did previously in the other game.
You couldn't run the football against them.
Yeah, no, you got to run the ball better here. You got to run the ball better. Obviously, one of the best ways to do that might be to throw the ball early and try to loosen things up. So once again, I mean, there are two. If you're worried about the last game, you'd make Cleveland a 6-point favorite. They're like a 2-point favorite, and I think the Texans are in great shot to win this.
And sometimes you just don't match up. They have not played particularly well against the best defenses in the league. As a matter of fact, they played very poorly against the best defenses in the league.
Who are the best defenses in the league that they played?
You remember the Jets game?
Yeah, Jets game wasn't great. It's also bad weather. Wait, was that Stroud? No, that was once again. That wasn't even C.J. Stroud.
Against the Jets? Yeah, he got hurt in that game.
Yeah.
Well, he was in it, yes. He was in that game, and they looked bad when he was in it. Against some of the best defenses in the league, of course, they really haven't.
They played the Ravens week 1.
Yeah, that wasn't good, but that was week 1.
They smacked the Steelers.
He still threw for 242 in that game.
He smacked the Steelers.
The Steelers aren't one of the best defenses in the league, though.
They're not?
No. Cleveland, the Jets, the Ravens. Yeah, and that's about actually. I mean, the schedule. Holy crap! You're not playing the schedule anymore next year. This was nice to have.
Look, Joe Flacco in his last 3 games has thrown 8 touchdowns. That's great, but he also has 6 interceptions. Like Joe Flacco had 3 against the Bears, 2 against the Texans in that game, 1 against the Jets. Joe Flacco, it's not like he's. He didn't play the last game. Joe Flacco's the reason the Texans can beat the
He
Browns.
did throw 2 interceptions, but he also dominated. I mean, he also threw.
Yeah, he had 368. Now, I will say.
He threw for 368.
I will say, the last 3 games, he's gone for 374, 368, and 309. So they are a different team now with Joe Flacco. They throw it around. And remember, kids, this is the same offensive patterns and scheme primarily that comes off the Shanahan tree. It's not dissimilar. This is LaFleur comes from the same class as Slowick. So, D'Amico, the good thing will be D'Amico understands that. He'll probably work with Slowick to try to take a look at the tape. If he's smart, he'll bring Slowick in and say, what did he do? What did they do here? What can we do different? Because Slowick spent time. I thought Joe Buck and Troy did a great job of putting information out there for the listener. Slowick started on the defensive side of the ball. And Mike Shanahan used to talk about, and Kyle Shanahan said, the best way to become a good offensive coordinator is to know defenses.
Well, so I just saw James Light, who I follow, and he's got all kinds of coaches on there, and they explain all kinds of. It's great follow. He had somebody on there that said, you cannot be a defensive coach unless you coach offense. You cannot be a defensive coach unless you coached offense.
You gotta
because you have to know. You have to know. I would think that the best defensive coaches are offensive coaches because they know they're constantly trying to solve how to beat defenses.
Well, I think they're the best consultants on. You just say something like, on this situation,
Yeah.
Like if we were to run this situation,
What do you do?
What would you do?
Yeah.
You don't get the whole game plan, but you get bits and pieces. And I think that's why Slowick having that defensive background. But remember now, LaFleur's offense, it comes from the Shanahan tree. Is it a surprise that you take a guy who can operate inside? This is why the Deshaun Watson of the world, Deshaun was a playmaker, but he couldn't stay on schedule. He couldn't stay on schedule with Texans. He needed everything to come off schedule. And those guys, the reason that Lamar Jackson is having a better year this year is he's going off schedule way less and he's staying inside of Monken's offense. And here's Joe Flacco, who, has been just a guy for a long time, but he's staying inside the construct of that offense. And this guy's bombing away 300 yards a game. He came off the couch and is leading them into the playoffs and leading them to, a bunch of wins. Here you have C.J. Stroud, a rookie. This offense is a real deal. This is why Bobby Slowick needs to take his time, find a great spot, and then he'll be a head coach by next year. Not this year. I think he'll stick around with the Texans one more year, and then I think he'll go. But it will depend on I can tell you this, if Ryan Poles and the Bears fire Matt Eberflus, he could get a call. Bobby Slowick could get a call because
I think Bobby Slowick's going to be gone.
He'll have a new quarterback to work with, presumably. I don't know. They could trade that and stick with Justin Fields, and Bobby Slowick might try to work with Justin Fields, but I think they would start fresh with a brand new quarterback is my guess. But the Shanahan tree has been a great tree, man. It is a great tree.
And you kept saying LaFleur for some reason?
Oh, not Stefanski.
Yeah.
I kept saying LaFleur, but Stefanski comes off the tree also.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's the same. Yeah, I kept saying LaFleur. It's Stefanski and that tree.
Yeah.
So the Stefanski tree, thank you. Stefanski is off the same tree. Well, I get the goatees mixed up now. But Stefanski he was known as a great play caller. And then all of a sudden with Deshaun, the play calling's bad. These are bad plays that are being called. He's calling bad plays. The same plays are called for Joe Flacco, and they're getting 370 a game.
Yeah, right.
Come on.
Yep.
Dude, at some point you figure out it's the quarterback more than the play calling situational.
Every team should have a Joe Flacco. If you have a Joe Flacco, you're going to dominate.
Yes, situationally, there's bad play calls. But in terms of game planning, a lot of these guys have good game plans. It's just a matter of reading defenses and executing. But I do think that Joe Flacco, if you get pressure on him, and their rookie right tackle, Juwan Jones, the big mountain at 370 pounds, whatever, that dude has been good this year. He's played really good as a rookie right tackle. I thought he'd be too heavy. His movement, I didn't think his movement was good enough, but no one beats him inside anymore. He just is real patient, and he's got these 36-inch arms, and if you try to rush around him, he just goes bang and pushes you away. He gave the blues to one of the premier rushers in the league, and Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa was at the end of those hands early in the season. Bang, bang. Bosa couldn't get much of a rush going, and that's going to be on Hughes' side.